In what seemed to be a mirror image of Bangladesh or Sri Lankan protests, Nepal saw thousands of students on the streets on Monday and Tuesday. But that is where the similarity ends. The issues were completely different. The anger against the administration, similar. In capital Kathmandu, thousands of young people, school and college students, many of them still in uniform, took to the streets. They called it the Gen Z protests. So far, 19 people have died after police opened fire and over 200 are injured. Who are the protesters? Why are they on the streets? Was it social media or was it corruption that had the youth livid? This is Quick Take, your quick guide. I'm Smita Prakash. It began on Monday morning in Kathmandu's Maithighar, a protest site known for peaceful gatherings. What started as a march against corruption escalated when groups broke barricades and stormed the parliament. Police responded with tear gas, water cannons, and then live bullets. On Tuesday, 9 September, the protesters were back on the streets. They began stoning homes of politicians. By Tuesday afternoon, the Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned after the massive anti-government protests. The Nepali police in riot gear are overwhelmed. At the heart of this protest lies a simple grievance: corruption without consequence. Nepal's youth say scams are exposed again and again, but justice delayed or diluted. Take the Airbus deal of 2017. 2 aircraft, a loss of 1.4 billion rupees. Some officials were convicted, but for the public, it was too little too late. The spark this time, a sudden social media blackout. The government blocked 26 platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp, cutting off lifelines for families, especially those with relatives working abroad. The only major platform left running was TikTok, owned by China's ByteDance, after it agreed to register with Nepal's government. But critics warn that this opens the door to greater Chinese influence. TikTok itself was briefly banned in 2023 for hate speech and cybercrime. Faced with anger on the streets and criticism at home and abroad, the government rolled back the ban. Apps are back, but the mistrust is not gone. Young Nepalis believe the government tried to silence them, and that attempt only deepened their fury. The frustration runs deeper. While Nepal's average income is just $1,300 a year, the children of politicians enjoy lives of luxury abroad. This inequality is glaring and visible on social media and has become a rallying cry. The anger intensified about the undue advantage and privilege that children of those in power, Nepo kids as they are called, they get. For several days before Monday's protest, hashtags like politicians, Nepo babies, Nepo kids, hashtag Nepo baby trended on TikTok, Reddit, and some other social media platforms. Another point, Nepal's youth are watching their neighbors. In Sri Lanka, protests toppled a president. In Bangladesh, a youth movement forced a political change. Nepal's Gen Z believes they too can force accountability. But this unrest is not happening in isolation. The Indian subcontinent, or as some people call it South Asia today, is a battlefield for influence. The US and China are competing for leverage in Kathmandu, Colombo, and in Dhaka. And yes, Islamabad and New Delhi too. Nepal's protests are not just about corruption, they're about who gets to shape the country's future. Does the Nepalese royalty have any role to play? Nepal abolished its 240-year-old monarchy in 2008, declaring itself a republic. King Gyanendra, the last monarch, was forced out after years of unrest and Maoist insurgency. Officially, the monarchy has no political role today. But nostalgia for the royal family remains, especially among the older generations who associate the monarchy with stability, order, and national identity. In times of crisis, royalist groups often resurface calling for restoration. So far, Nepal's Gen Z protests have not carried a strong royalist banner. Their anger is directed at corruption, inequality, and political elites, not necessarily at the republic system itself. For India, the lesson is twofold. First, corruption and inequality are no longer domestic issues. They can destabilize entire nations. Second, In a neighborhood where protests can turn into revolutions, New Delhi must be vigilant. Nepal is not just a neighbor, it's a buffer. And instability there has always had consequences for India. Back in Kathmandu tonight, the curfew remains. The social media ban may have been lifted, but Nepal's Gen Z has shown that they are not afraid to challenge authority. They want accountability, not just cosmetic fixes.